Welcome back. Merry Christmas. Today is, what date do we have? It's Wednesday, December 26, 2018. It's around afternoon, my time, Vienna, Austrian, Central European time. And, most people, that's the dilemma, and that's the baffling thing, the most surprising thing. When Bitcoin reached approximately 19 to 20,000 dollars or euros or what have you, as of last December, all of a sudden it was more beyond mainstream, and then it got interesting, and then people, they become interested. And this is what, the herds mentality works like. Most people chase after investments or financial actions, or what have you, when it's already, at the peak, in all those normal, very normal, ordinary cycles that happen. It's been happening, in the traditional market the same way. So if you, feel and think, and you're observing that the value of the money that you've been earning so hard is losing more and more of its value, ever increasingly, maybe even exponentially, year by year, decade by decade. I mean, just look at the dollar. The US dollar has lost its value by more than 90% since the inception of the privately owned and controlled US Federal Reserve System. So that's called inflation. It's called devaluing, debasing the money, and there's a solution. And that's called, it's called the hardest money, the store of value, the medium of exchange, the unit of account, the trustless network consensus system that needs no trust but verification and validation, that is full of immutability, total immutability, meaning it's not changeable, it's not to be manipulated, it's not confiscatable. You cannot confiscate it, you cannot steal it unless you give away the private keys to the access of your Bitcoin. All right. So first we need to understand the pain point. We need to understand the cause and the roots of the problem, and that's the fiat money. Fiat means, by decree, by order, comes from the Roman Latin language, by decree. And it's the central banking controlling, obsessively controlled fractional reserve banking. What does a fractional reserve banking mean? Means that all those banks, the commercial banks, the private banks, the central banks, the deposit you make, the money you put into your account, there's a sort of a very deliberate and arbitrary reserve requirement ratio. That means from that money that you put on that account, they only have to keep a percentage of that, or a fraction of that. Let's say, only 1/9 of your money. The rest they can issue loans and credits. And this is automatically, this process creates more quantities and volumes of money, which creates inflation. That means when you have more of something and you can reprint it or just generate it digitally, and nowadays, we have already for a long time digital money, but we have been living, of course, since, for a few decades now in the plastic society, meaning credit cards, bankomat cards, ATM machines, and so we're already digital, because most people think, when they're thinking about cryptocurrencies and all this virtual currency, but we've already been living in that. So the time has come. Your time has come. It has matured now, and I don't want you, and you don't want, or your families, to have regrets after it's already too late, to get into as optimally, as opportunistically as possible. This is why I'm here as your coach, your mentor, your consultant, your guide, your expert, not financial investment, because in the end of the day, it would be the same thing. I don't tell you to put your money into the bank account. This is not financial investment advice if I tell you, put your money into your bank account, because I don't know what's going to be left there, and whether it's going to be, we're going to have soon after, inflation, hyperinflation crash, a bail-in instead of a bailout. Bail-in means the banks freeze your accounts, close the banks, and then they just withdraw illegally, of course. I mean, it's wholly, but it's have been legalized, the illegality of it. That's what happened in Cyprus, right? Many years ago. So, and that's European Union, we call it, right? So if you want to grow the value of your investments, all right, the value of your assets, the value of your life, of your existence, for you, for yourself, for your beloved family, for your existence, for your well-being, for your comfort, for your security, for your pension, retirement, then I give you the tools, the knowledge, the expertise, the authentic research materials, and let's just go for a couple of minutes into the. Of course, yeah, it's fluctuating still, and Bitcoin, I'm going to tell you, it's still going to go down. It is just a very subtle, very quiet consolidation, seems to be, but with all this, shit hitting the fan going on, with all this investment, financial structures, the global ones, with the central banking structures on top of that, and on top of that is the Bank for International Settlements, that is again comprised of the major, and most powerful private and central banks, which they have their shares. And one of them is the privately owned U.S. Federal Reserve System, of course, and the European central banks and private bank. So all these very tiny handful of elites, or whatever you want to call them, they literally own, and they are above the law, by the way. Okay, so they've been formed in like the 30s. They hoarded the gold of the Nazi Hitler Germany. They did all the transaction because of the network, their settlement procedures, and they have been, it's not just a harmless service provider, Bank for International Settlement. It's a central bank of all central banks. And if you're a little bit patient, I will publish this article very soon about Bitcoin, Austrian economics versus, or decentralizing the Bank for International Settlements. If you want to follow up on my articles I wrote on medium.com/ at Keyvan Davani, it's my 2 articles. One of them, both of them are dedicated to my father, which died on December 18th. Blessed his soul. I truly loved his soul. I learned so much humbleness and wisdom, intelligence and experience from him. Yeah, and yeah, that's life. But I'm now doing exactly what he would have done if he had the time, the resources, the energy. He gave everything. He always gave service and gave help to so many other people. He was never selfish. He never had anything because he always helped other people, and he never had a selfish life. It was always humble and modest. So anyway, I don't want to digress, but follow up on my things. If you want to support my work, please go on patreon.com/thetotalconnector. If you want me to work independently, still investigatively, doing my research, my scientific, as a contribution to humanity's thriving evolution, exponential evolution, hopefully, beginning in the very physical, monetary, materialistic, monetary, financial, economical structures and roots of this system, which we just deroot with the hardest money store value, and that is Bitcoin. All right, so if you want to, inform yourself, empower yourself with knowledge, with coaching, with consultation, with me, through me, by me, then contact me at www.keyvandavani.youcanbook.me. It's right in the video description on below. And you can follow me, of course, on Facebook, where post a lot of important stuff. On Twitter, at my Twitter name is Keyvan Davani, at Keyvan Davani, and on LinkedIn, of course. All right. So yeah, that's about it. And there's huge potential. There's huge potential, and I haven't still shown you most of the work I've been doing right now. It's about the criminal, civil, international, legal aspects of the central banking structures and their central banking controlled fiat inflationary debt, exponentially debt-based fractional reserve banking globally. And as you might have heard, there's a study by the International Institute for International Finance, which have calculated that the global debt is approximately a quarter of a quadrillion. All right, so that's more than it's approximately 250 trillion US dollars. All right, and I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. So if you want to save the wealth that you have and gradually and intelligently and wisely convert it, transform it into real substance that grows value, that is deflationary, that grows value instead of inflationary, instead of debasing and devaluing your hard-earned money and whatever you have, you need to diversify. It's called risk minimization, risk diversification, and long-term strategical investment, which you act upon, all right, on your decisions, because you understand, you trust your own knowledge, your own understanding, your own comprehension. My name is Keyvan Davani. It's about total Bitcoin, hardest money, store of value, medium of account, unit of account, medium exchange, and it's about really derooting and total decentralization of this totally corrupt, sickening, rotten, enslaving, totally beyond criminality central banking structures, beginning with the Bank for International Settlements. And nobody can stop Bitcoin. It's totally decentralized. Nobody owns it. Nobody controls it. It's a network consensus-driven, trustless system. Do not trust, verify, validate. That's how it goes. In code we trust, as they say in the cryptography. Okay, again, my name is Keyvan Davani. Merry Christmas to you again, and I wish you a very, very beautiful, dive or jump or whatever you want to call it into this beautiful, exciting and thrilling and enthusiastic year of 2019. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be awesome and brilliant. And our intentions, our intelligence, our wishes, our soul is going to manifest, one way or another, because this is the ultimate test and challenge for us collectively as humanity to, coordinate, to communicate, to share knowledge, information, understanding, comprehension, be open-minded, to put aside all this vanity and selfishness and stupidity and, egocentric behavior and attitudes. But really, we have become so blinded, we've become so brainwashed, indoctrinated, dogmatized with so much false narratives, information, and knowledge, beginning in school and mother's womb, or through our education, family, social media, even social media. You got to be careful, what you're reading. You got to go to the primary sources. You got to do your own research. Again, read books by Antonopoulos, by Carol Quigley, Tragedy and Hope, a pure historical, fact-based book, or The Bitcoin Standard by Safed and Amuz. There's so many, or Jesus Huerta de Soto, Money, Bank Credit, and Economic Cycles. So these are books that I can really recommend to you. And the Bitcoin Standard is going to be pretty soon also in German for the German-speaking people. And we have a beautiful, future ahead of us. So if you want to, grow your wealth and be happy and just be happy, and that's it. All right, I think that's enough for today. Thank you so much for your attention, for your support. Like and share my videos, and support me if you can, and in whatever shape and form, so I can, continue contributing and supporting and helping humanity thrive on this planet, with this, within our thriving evolutionary civilization. All right, by the order of magnitude. Okay, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you soon again. and have a beautiful, happy new year. And I'll see you next year, 2019.